Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Light Fragments Oracle Pick a Pile card reading. There are only 2 piles to pick from this evening, 3 cards in each pile, a past, present, and a future. So what I'd like you to do is to pause your video, take a deep breath through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Close your eyes and see which comes to the surface in your mind. Is it the stone that is etched with an X or a cross? Or is it the stone that is shaped like an arrowhead? You decide, and we will begin. This is pile number 1, and this is pile number 2. So we will start with pile number 1. Pile number 1, this is your reading. Baptism by Fire. Now this card is coming up because you have been in a particularly stressful situation. You have either acquired a job that you've been wanting for a long time, but it has come with a lot of stress that you were not prepared for. And all new situations are like this. All new situations come with a relative degree of stress because we're walking into the unknown and we don't know exactly what it is we're up against until we get in that position. This card could also have something to do with a person that is undergoing a situation that has to do with health, or it could be a crisis of some sort that just has you totally overwhelmed. But the Baptism by Fire card has to do with being thrown into a situation, not expecting what you're getting, and then now having to deal with the overwhelmment of it all, the stress of it all, and thinking to yourself, why did I do what I do? Why did I take this job? Why is this happening to me? If it's another situation, how can I deal with this? This is just too difficult for me to handle. But all of us at some time in our lives have had to go through a baptism by fire, because fire is one of those elements that has a positive and a negative, right? The positive is that fire is used to cook, fire is used to warm us, fire is used to brighten up, like if you have a fire outside. But fire can also be used to destroy, like if there is a house fire, or if somebody has too much fire, too much passion, they can burn out a relationship, they can push somebody away, or a fire will burn a building completely down and everybody loses everything. And when you also think of fire as in heat, if you get too close to the heat, then it can also burn you. So baptism by fire has its pros and its cons. You move into a situation that you weren't expecting, and now you're overwhelmed, but there will be lessons to learn. This will be a teachable moment. You will either decide for yourself do I want to continue to do this, to continue learning, to continue putting up with this? Or do I want to get out of this and do something different? The decision is totally up to you. You do have a choice, but this takes a lot of inner thinking. And sometimes there are those of us that take on too much. That could be the situation. You started off, everything was great with your life, and you decided you wanted to go out and do community service, and then you decided you wanted to help people, and the next thing you know, you find yourself in a position where you've taken on too much. But this kind of situation deserves some respect. Because when you learn to respect the situation and the feelings that you have about it and gain insight, then you grow. And that is the reason for the baptism by fire card. If you notice down here, there are all these plants growing out of the fire with little tiny hearts on them. Now, this could be a person that has 6 children. Or perhaps they've had to take on their grandchildren into their home, and it's just become so overwhelming with 6 people in the house again. But you are stronger than you know. And you do have a very strong intuition, and you also have somebody that is on your right shoulder. Your right shoulder is your moving forward side that is going to help you to move forward and make the right choices. So there is hope in this situation. Okay, number 1. Let's see what the next card is. Archangel Chamuel. And Archangel Chamuel, very interestingly enough, shows up when there is a trying situation. Archangel Chamuel is known as the love angel, the angel for relationships, the angel that shows up when somebody is getting ready to pass on, to transition into the next life. Call on Archangel Chamuel to increase the love that you need to have in your heart at this time, at this very difficult time, because that's the last thing that you want, is to have to give more, be more loving, be more understanding. But this is the time to do it. And Chamuel will come in and will heal your broken heart. Whatever it is about this situation, Chamuel will come in and heal your broken heart. And I don't know if somebody has passed away here, and that could be indicative to this card, this baptism by fire, a sudden death, that you now have to navigate through this grief. And where you're going to go, how are you going to do things? Maybe you didn't have a job, now you need to find a job. You need an income to keep your family going. Whatever it is, Chamuel is there to help. And the third card, okay, so this would be the past, baptism by fire, a sudden change, a sudden decision, a drastic, chaotic change, whatever it is, it's baptism by fire. And baptism by fire can also mean taking on a job you have no idea what it's going to entail, but it's something that you've always wanted to do, and now you're in it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I would be this stressed out. So the third card is Chunket. Chunket is a psychological term, and I learned this term several years ago from a friend who had been a teacher for 30 years, and she told me when I was discussing with her how I need to put certain things on the back burner of my mind, and she said, yes, that's called chunking it. And so chunking it means taking the situation, moving out what you don't need to handle right now, and only focusing on what you need to handle. Those chunks or bits and pieces of information that need to be handled first. And what they do is they make your life more manageable. This technique makes your life more manageable, so it can ease the overwhelmment. It can ease that sense of feeling so overwhelmed that you're immobilized. And so you can only do what you can do with what you have for today. So that needs to be your focus, not tomorrow, not the past because it can't be changed, not tomorrow because it's not here yet. Today, manage what you can for today. And remember to breathe through it. We also have more violet around this person. Violet, very similar colors in these two cards for auric colors. And we also have a spirit here. This is an angelic being. Interesting that this angel showed up. And we have a spirit over here, both on the right shoulder, both on the moving forward shoulder. So you are protected, and you are going to make it through this. Come hell or high water, you are going to make it through this. You are going to learn so much through this experience. But the question here is, you have a choice. If this is a job that you chose, do you want to keep it? If this isn't something that you chose, you have a choice to say, yes, I'm going to keep my feet moving forward no matter what, or I'm just going to do nothing and I'm just going to phase into nothingness. And I think you know what that choice is. You know what that choice is. So these cards are here to validate that the past, moving into the present, you have help, somebody there in spirit form, and in the future you will be breaking things down into manageable sizes so that you can handle whatever it is that has been thrown at you, or whatever it is that you chose, that you thought that you wanted or accepted to do. You will be easing into an easier way of being able to handle it. Okay, number one, pile number one, that is your reading for this evening and for this week. Okay, so now we are into pile number two. Okay, pile number two. Whoops, cards are upside down. I'm sorry. Okay, so pile number two. My light is in the way. I'm going to move it. Excuse me. Pile number two. You have gone through a shift, since this is the past card moving into the present. You've gone through a shift, a very serious shift, I might add. It feels like you're holding on to the garment, to the threads. You're just holding on to the threads of this situation, this shift that you're going through. And you're feeling very threaded. You're feeling very loose, like you're not feeling put together. You're feeling like on the outside everybody thinks everything is normal, but on the inside you're in a lot of turmoil. And this turmoil that you are experiencing is inner turmoil. Kind of like you don't know what you want to do moving forward. You wish that the situation that you're in would ease up, but some of this turmoil, pile number 2 has been created by you. And that's the shift that you are going through. You are going through a shifting and a sifting. So as you shift, you are sifting out ways of being that are no longer serving you. And it's very uncomfortable. It's giving you a feeling of restlessness. And I feel like because you've made this shift, all the people in your life recognize it, and they don't like it. Okay? They don't like it at all. But this is necessary. It's necessary because I feel like you have been micromanaging everybody. You've been micromanaging everybody's lives. You work a full-time job. You know, people are constantly coming to you for the answers. And now you're at this place where you're like, I don't have any place to go for the answers. But you do. All the answers that you need are within you. And when you learn to quiet your mind and go within and push out all the external noise and listen to your inner being, listen to your heart. You know, God knows the desires of our hearts. But the problem is that we don't take the time to listen. That's the problem. And you've been so busy micromanaging everybody else, you really haven't been paying attention to your own needs and your own heart. So I just want you to know that there is no shame in walking away from a situation that is not working for you. There is also no shame in staying in it, if that's what you choose to do. But before you make that kind of drastic decision, you need to go inside yourself and really do some house cleaning. Clean out the cobwebs. You know, take an inner bath, a squeaky clean inner bath, and wash away all that stuff that is not serving you. But also, if this is the end for you in what the situation that you're shifting into or away from, just remember that endings always result in new beginnings. And when you get into that new beginning, it's going to have its own set of challenges. One of the questions you need to ask yourself is, will I be ready for that too? Okay? Yes. Yes. This card is about friction in a relationship. Remember I mentioned that the people around you don't like that shift that you're going through? Well, that is 100% true. The reason that the people around you do not like that shift is because they feel threatened. They feel threatened, and you're changing. And that means that all these people around you now are going to have to learn how to fend for themselves a little bit. And when we take away somebody else's ability to do for themselves, we are doing them a great disservice. It's very codependent. They depend on you. You get something out of it, right? Because they want you and they need you. But by the same token, you're taking away from yourself. There is a balance here. There can be a balance, right? So you are going to come up against some friction. So just be aware of that. This is not unnatural. This is very natural. Okay? It's like creating a fire. You know, you can rub two pieces of metal together and keep rubbing them and everything will be fine, and all of a sudden a spark will be thrown and a fire will start. Friction, after a while, creates a fire, an upheaval. And so it's bound to happen. But as you take care of yourself, you'll be able to deal with this. You'll be able to deal with this. The goal here is to not engage with the friction. The more you engage, the more there is a firestorm. Okay? And then the fire spreads. And then you have a wildfire. You don't want that. So I do sense a relationship issue here. And then the third card is listen. The third, this is a grounding card. This is, like I mentioned before, learning how to listen to yourself. And also, when you feel ready, listen to the other person. Because if they're feeling threatened, or they feel like you're going to leave them or you're going to abandon them, and you can reassure them that you're not going to do that, at least if that's what you're feeling like doing, not doing, or you might end up doing, that's why you need to go back inside yourself and really try to figure all of this out, this shift, okay? Because nobody can make that decision for you. So the listening is very, very important. So, you know, you can talk yourself in circles, but remain unheard. So engaging when there is friction, there's no point in it. Because what happens is that if somebody's feeling this way, they're just going to put up a barrier. They're not going to be ready to listen to what you have to say anyway. So the most important thing is to listen to how you feel. Listen to your own inner being, your own inner child. And make peace with that first. Then you may be able to make peace here or not. As I mentioned, that decision is up to you. And listen to what you're being told in the quiet. Take a walk in the woods. The thoughts that you get are going to be different than the thoughts that you get doing this. Okay? And I will recommend writing your feelings down, because maybe a week later when you look back, your feelings have changed. Being understood is important, but understanding is just as important. It works both ways. It's a two-way street. Once you make the decision to listen to the sound of your own voice, you will be better equipped to listen to the other party in your life. Okay? But it all starts with you. Stop micromanaging everybody's lives. Little by little. Little by little. Okay, pile number 2. That is your reading for tonight. Thank you, everybody. Be well, be blessed, and I will see you at the next Pick a Pile reading. Good night.